The upcoming Spider-Man PS4 video game seems to be packed filled with things to do, and so far we've had a ton of gameplay videos showing a wide range of activities players will be able to pull off, from simply swinging around the city of New York and fighting the bad guys to walking around and taking photos of people and places. And it's undeniable the rich world in this newest entry has a lot to offer. That is why in today's video I'll cover 10 cool things you'll be able to do once the game finally releases on the 7th of September, which is just a few more weeks away. A disclaimer though, this list doesn't cover everything and the final release will definitely include way more things for you to do, but in the meantime I hope you all sit comfy in your chairs and let's get started. The first one on the list is all about free roaming, and while it's true you'll mostly concentrate on doing missions and taking down the bad guys, Insomniac has said that they've put in a lot of effort to make web swinging around town feel amazing. You'll have a huge city to explore with tons of secrets and landmarks, and since we're talking about New York, crimes as well. In fact, New York looks and feels more alive than in any previous Spider-Man video game, with huge crowds of people, traffic jams and more. Spidey also seems to be more agile and acrobatic than ever before, and with how things seem to look right now, you'll have a blast web swinging around, zipping from one roof to another and jump boosting for even more speed. You'd be pleased to know that once you finish the main storyline, but even before that, you're free to explore and go anywhere you'd like in the Manhattan area. The only downside here is that there won't be any day and night cycle in the free roam, as each story mission is set during a specific time of the day. Fortunately enough, you'll be able to pick the time of the day when roaming around, so if you prefer going for a swing first thing in the morning or enjoying the nightlife, then the game definitely gives you this possibility. Also, there are plenty of collectibles in the game that you'll use for all sorts of stuff like unlocking upgrades and suits, as well as crimes you'll have to stop, so you'll definitely spend some time doing this. The map itself is larger than any of the previous video games in the franchise. In fact, it is so large it even gives you the possibility to use the subway travel if you're too tired to walk around or swing anymore. So far it has been confirmed you'll only have access to the Manhattan area, but don't worry, it's several times bigger than Insomniac's previous game, which is Sunset Overdrive, and that should give you more than enough room to satisfy your web swinging pleasures. The second one on the list is all about upgrades, and there's no Spider-Man game that doesn't give you some sort of way of improving your arsenal. In the newest entry, players will be able to upgrade everything from their own skill set to gadgets and even suits. There's a confirmed talent tree in the game with over 30 skills you'll be able to invest points into as you level up. These talents fall into 3 categories, all tackling different sides of the gameplay. First, we have the Innovator skill tree, which mostly deals with expanding Spidey's damage capabilities. Defender, which as the name implies is also about defending against the increasingly more powerful and numerous foes you'll have to fight throughout the game. Finally, there's the Web Slinger skill tree that further buffs your web swinging related abilities. Nonetheless, it's been said by Insomniac themselves that unlike how it was done in the previous Spider-Man games, in this one your abilities won't feel gutted in the beginning and only later having them picked off, but rather you'll have a wide range of skills from the very start, and later you'll be able to improve them even further. A counterexample to this was given, which was of course Web of Shadow. I actually loved this game, but it started in the beginning with giving you all the abilities, and soon after the first mission or the intro mission it would immediately strip them off and you have to regain them once more, and I found that actually being a little bit strange, but I am glad that Insomniac is kinda addressing this and doesn't go with the same route as the previous games. On top of this, you'll also be able to unlock and build gadgets to help you in combat. Furthermore, this and of course unlocking more suits, which all have their own abilities and strengths and weaknesses. There are more than a handful of acquirable and upgradable gadgets, as well as at least a few dozen suits, each having their very own abilities. You've already seen a few of the gadgets at least, such as the web shooters, which we got from the very start. You can upgrade these like any other thing in the game using various tokens you get rewarded from doing certain types of activities in the game. We also saw other gadgets such as the trip mine, the web bomb, which were used to control groups of enemies, but I'll go over in more detail in a later video. Unlocking spider suits, which is an activity I know for a fact that I will be doing a lot of, is not only there to make you feel more fashionable, but also to give you certain boosts and abilities. Each suit has its own uses and powers and can be further upgraded with certain materials to make them stronger, faster, more resistant to damage, and so on. The third one on the list is something that can be easily missed, and that is of course the ability to do aerial tricks. Basically there's a skill in the web slinger tree called air tricks, which upon unlocked lets you do tricks manually by holding down triangle and the circle button at the same time and then pressing the left stick in whatever direction you want to perform it. This isn't just an aesthetic thing, and it actually has a gameplay purpose. In short, doing air tricks will also give you more focus and XP, so as you travel to a crime scene you can pull off some cool tricks in the air to recharge your focus meter, and then when you get there you can trigger your ultimate ability to take the bad guys down. Additionally, you'll also be able to earn XP from doing these, but I think it won't be that much as to keep things balanced. I'm pretty sure that the Spider-Man does some kind of tricks automatically when swinging on his own, even if you don't have this skill unlocked, but this means that it will just give you a little bit more control on doing them manually when unlocking this skill. As I've said in the beginning, this game feels and looks more alive than any previous entries in the Spider-Man universe, and there's a ton of stuff to do in this version of New York, not just swinging and fighting. You'll be able to interact with characters, take pictures with them and talk to them. As I've said in a previous video, Spidey also has an in-game social media page with millions of fans, so chances are you'll encounter quite a lot of them on the streets. Taking photos is also a possibility, as the game offers you a photo mode to play around with, and you'll probably want to do that quite often. Not only does the game look absolutely gorgeous in all the lighting scenarios, but there are plenty of landmarks with great significance you can go to, from landmarks that exist in the real world such as the Empire State Building to fictional ones like the Avengers Tower. You'll have a blast using this feature, and it's awesome seeing games nowadays giving players the possibility to use the photo mode in order to take the photos they want. And of course it also plays a huge part in acquiring landmark tokens, but I'll talk about that a little bit later into the video. It was said many times in the past that Spider-Man is helped throughout the game by various characters, from the chief of police in the New York City to various friends. You'll be pleased to know that their help will count in the overall story progression. In the case of Mary Jane, she's going to be a playable character in certain missions, as she fits the role of an investigating journalist, finding secrets when Spider-Man is too busy fighting the bad guys. Additionally, Insomniac's game director also mentioned Peter Parker is a focus on this game as much as Spider-Man is, meaning that his role is also important. As a matter of fact, Peter Parker is also a controllable character, not just when he's using his spider abilities, but also when doing lab work or solving puzzles. In fact, Insomniac is notorious for its amazing puzzle development, and in games such as Ratchet & Clank there's a lot of them and they are pretty fun. They can start simple but soon become quite complex, and while still keeping the fun. A lot of the previous Spider-Man games gave us the possibility to some extent to play the game in a more stealthy manner. While most of them kind of failed in this department, there was one with great stealth gameplay. The best example in this was 2010 release called Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions. Nonetheless, it seems that the newest PS4 release will also let us play more covertly compared to previous titles, and there is a bit more strategy involved. I'm also pleased to say that the camera control looks fantastic from what I've seen up until now, and it doesn't feel like it's a chore. Of course, staying out of enemies' line of sight is also suggested, but if at some point you fail doing this properly, you can just jump out from the shadows and start kicking their butts and plastering them all over the walls. There's even a spider suit that elevates your stealth gameplay to the next level, which of course is the Spider Noir suit. It's believed that it will give you abilities that will make you harder to detect by the enemy when hiding, but I guess we'll have to wait and see for that one to be confirmed. Side missions is one of those things that a Spider-Man game cannot even exist without. As New York is a city of millions of people, there are bound to be some crimes or problems going down every minute. From robberies, car chases, and helping people out in various ways, you'll have plenty of opportunities to help the people of New York. This won't come without rewards, of course, and doing these events will earn you special tokens, which in turn will give you the possibility to unlock gadgets and spider suits, as well as upgrading them. There are 6 types of tokens in this game, and I'll go over them briefly. First, we have crime tokens rewarded from stopping crime throughout the city. You can find criminal activities randomly by scanning for them or being being given intel from New York's chief of police. Backpack tokens come from finding old backpacks Peter left throughout the years all around the town. These can be spotted using your inbuilt scanner. Research tokens are related to the lab in which Peter works, and I assume it ties in with the puzzles as I was talking about them earlier. Landmark tokens, as the name implies, are rewarded when you're taking photos of certain buildings of great significance or other points of interest. Base tokens are rewarded from clearing the Kingpin construction sites, which are all scattered around the town and are actually just a cover for other illegal activities happening there. And finally we have challenge tokens from doing various challenges throughout the game. I've yet to see more detailed info on this, but it could be anything related to defeating certain types of enemies in certain ways, or maybe even doing races or time trials, but I haven't actually seen more info on this. A cool thing that I first saw in the Amazing Spider-Man video game is the introduction of an in-game social media feed. This feature is being added in this game as well, and it all plays a huge role into making the game world more alive and believable. Apparently in this game Spider-Man has a sort of like a Twitter fan page with millions of followers that he updates daily as he goes about his adventures. Not only that, but Insomniac has put in quite an effort into making it believable, as you'll see in-game NPCs actually commenting on the page and giving feedback or opinions, similarly how it is in the real world. I actually cannot wait to see what types of comments someone would leave on a real Spider-Man's Twitter page. I'm sure there will be a range of people, anywhere from die-hard fans to salty haters. Hopefully the in-game photo mode also plays a role in this, as in posting on the fake Twitter profile, but if not, that might just happen automatically at various points throughout the game. Nonetheless, when I first saw this similar fake social media in the Amazing Spider-Man, I actually found it quite cool, and there's definitely comments out there that will bring you a few laughters here and there. I know this point is quite late into the list and probably known to you already, but using the environment to your advantage is now more important than ever before. It's so important in fact that certain types of enemies can only be defeated using this, and there are even upgrades to make you better make use of your surroundings. Well, you already know that you can pick things from the ground, such as random pieces of wood or rock, and smash them into the enemy's face. You'll eventually also be able to pick your enemies off the ground and smashing them into one another. Even foes with rocket launchers won't be safe, as you'll be able to use your webs to spin them right back at their face. Similarly, you can jump against a wall to deal even more damage against the enemy. You'll be able to pull down huge shelves or crates on enemies' heads while they're not paying attention. Still, taking advantage of your surroundings is a skill of its own, and you'll want to use it as often as possible. And this brings us to the final point on the list, which is of course Quicktime Events, and there's no Spider-Man game out there without at least a few of these scattered around. Sometimes the screen is just too action-packed for you to play normally, which is why various points in the story will give you the possibility to do them. You've already probably seen a few of these throughout the trailers, like for example the helicopter scene, which I found really good, and when you have to stop the helicopter while trying to keep everybody from the ground safe from falling equipment and pieces of building. Another sequence in which this feature is used is of course during car chases, when you need to take down the bad guys or take their weapons or just pull them out of the car, and even rescuing passengers if they happen to be inside. But these are just 10 of the things you'll be able to do in the upcoming Spider-Man PS4 exclusive. This game is absolutely huge and it will give you the possibility to do much more than this, but this is all the time that we have for today. If you enjoyed this video, then make sure to drop a like and to subscribe to the channel if you didn't already. Also activate the notification bell, and I will see you guys in the next one.